welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a really fundamental tool used in all sorts of decision-making, from individual choices right up to huge government projects.
Oh, right.
We're talking about benefit cost analysis, or BCA. Basically, it's about systematically looking at the pros and cons, often trying to put a monetary value on them.
Right, weighing things up.
Yeah, to figure out if something's actually worth doing, if it's a smart way to use resources.
And a really key piece of that is the benefit cost ratio, the BCR. Think of it as a sort of value for money number.
Okay.
You take the total expected benefits, divide them by the total expected costs, critically, both adjusted to what they're worth today.
Adjusted, right. We'll need to unpack that.
We will. But the result is this single ratio. And generally, if it's greater than 1...
then the benefits outweigh the cost.
That's the idea, yeah. It suggests it could be a worthwhile thing to pursue. It's a pointer towards, let's say, relative value.
Got it. So in this deep dive, we really want to get a good handle on this benefit cost ratio. We'll look at, how you calculate it, what that number actually means, its strengths, but also, crucially, its weak spots.
The limitations, yeah. They're important.
Definitely. And maybe touch on some real examples, see how it stacks up against other financial tools people use. Because you hear about this with public spending, private investments, even regulations.
Grant applications, too.
Right. So understanding BCR seems pretty key.
It really is. So maybe we should start with a slightly more formal definition.
Good idea.
Okay. So the benefit cost ratio, BCR, is the ratio of the total discounted benefits to the total discounted costs, both typically in money terms.
And that word discounted is doing a lot of work there.
It absolutely is. It's fundamental. We'll get into why in a moment. But essentially, the BCR gives you this quantitative snapshot of whether a project looks economically viable.
So over 1.0 is the green light, generally.
Generally, yes. It suggests the project is expected to create more economic value than it uses up. It's often used as a first pass, a quick screening tool to see which ideas look attractive.
Okay, greater than 1, good sign. Simple enough. But you said it shows relative efficiency, not the absolute benefit. Why does that matter?
That's a critical distinction. Let's say you have a small project, costs $50,000, benefits are $125,000.
Okay, BCR is 2.5. Looks great.
Looks great, right. High efficiency. Now, picture a huge project, costs $5 million, benefits are $7 million.
That gives a BCR of 1.4. Lower.
Lower, yeah. So if you only looked at the BCR, you might pick the small project, but look at the net benefit, the total benefits minus total costs.
Right.
The big project generates $2 million in net value, the smaller, only $75,000.
I see. So the BCR tells you how much value you get per dollar spent.
Exactly. Efficiency.
But not the total amount of value created overall.
Precisely. And that's why you almost always want to look at BCR alongside other things, especially net present value or NPV, which does give you that absolute measure of value.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Efficiency versus scale. Okay, you've mentioned discounted a few times now. Let's dive into that.
Yeah.
What's this present value idea?
Right. Present value, or PV. It's basically what future money is worth today.
Okay. Why the difference?
It comes down to the time value of money. Simply put, $1 today is worth more than $1 you expect to get, say, a year from now.
Because you can invest today's dollar.
That's a big part of it, yeah. Potential investment returns. Also, inflation eats away at purchasing power over time. And, well, the future is always a bit uncertain, isn't it? So present value is how we adjust those future amounts, costs, or benefits back to today's terms. It lets you compare apples to apples, even if the cash flows happen at different times.
So we're kind of shrinking future money to see its current worth. And the tool for that shrinking is the discount rate.
Exactly. The discount rate is the key. Think of it as the opportunity cost of the money you're tying up in this project.
Meaning what you could have earned elsewhere.
Pretty much, yeah. The return you could expect from the next best alternative investment that has a similar level of risk. It's the benchmark.
And how does choosing that rate affect the calculations?
Oh, massively. Especially for projects stretching out over many years. A higher discount rate makes future money worth much less today.
So it penalizes long-term benefits?
It does. It can make things like big infrastructure projects or environmental protection look less attractive economically because many of their benefits are far off in the future. A lower rate gives more weight to those future outcomes.
Wow, okay. So picking the discount rate sounds subjective.
Yeah.
Or maybe controversial.
It can definitely be debated. There are guidelines, though, particularly for public projects. In the U.S., the Office of Management and Budget, the OMB, has Circular A94.
What does that say?
Well, it suggests using rates based on returns for government borrowing, adjusted for inflation. And interestingly, for really long-term analyses, OMB actually recommends a declining discount rate.
Declining why?
It starts at 2% for 2023-2079, then drops gradually. The thinking involves how society values the present versus the future, and also expectations about long-term economic growth.
Complex stuff.
It is. But the crucial thing, no matter what rate you choose, is you have to state it clearly, and you really should do sensitivity analysis.
Meaning try different rates.
Exactly. Rerun the BCR calculation with a range of discount rates, maybe a bit higher, bit lower. See how much the result changes. It tells you how robust your conclusion is.
Okay, that makes sense. Check how wobbly the result is. So we have the BCR, we understand discounting.
Yeah.
Where do we actually see this being used?
Oh, all over the place. Let's start with the public sector. That's a huge area.
But roads and bridges.
Definitely. Big infrastructure, highways, transit systems, airports. Governments use BCA to see if the benefits to society, like shorter commutes, fewer accidents, justify the huge costs.
Makes sense. What else?
Water projects are another classic example. Dams, pipelines, water treatment plants, again, weighing societal benefits against costs. You see this right now with things like the proposed Delta Conveyance project in California.
Ah, the water tunnels project.
Exactly. A massive undertaking, and the BCA is a core part of justifying that kind of investment of public money, aiming to show improved water reliability is worth the cost.
Okay. Infrastructure. What about, say, environmental stuff?
Absolutely. Environmental policies, regulations on pollution, conservation projects, climate change mitigation, even things like urban parks or restoring wetlands.
How do you put a price on clean air, though?
That's the challenge. It's tough. Economists have techniques, contingent valuation, hedonic pricing, things like that, to try and estimate monetary values for non-market goods like clean air, biodiversity, climate stability.
Sounds tricky.
It is, and it can be controversial, but it's attempted. Even that Delta Conveyance report tries to quantify impacts on things like air quality.
Okay. And beyond environment?
Yeah.
Social programs?
Yes. Social programs, public health, spending on education, healthcare initiatives, public safety, even disaster preparedness. You try to quantify benefits like better health outcomes, lower crime rates, avoided losses from floods or earthquakes.
So it seems governments really lean on this.
They do. Many agencies like the USOMB, Department of Transportation, FEMA, even the Millennium Challenge Corporation for International Aid, they often require or strongly recommend a BCA.
To make sure taxpayer money is well spent.
Essentially, yes. To show that projects are expected to provide a net positive benefit to society. That Delta analysis, for instance, explicitly states it follows federal guidelines.
Okay, that covers the policy side pretty well. What about businesses? Do they use BCR?
Oh, absolutely. Maybe not always called BCR explicitly, but the underlying principles are central to capital budgeting.
How so?
Well, companies use BCR, or related metrics like NPV and IRR we mentioned, to assess if a new project, launching a product, building a factory, buying another company makes financial sense. Will the returns justify the investment?
So investment appraisal.
Right. And also for building a business case for internal things, like should we upgrade our IT systems, buy new machinery, renovate the office? A cost-benefit mindset helps justify those spends.
I know we looked at a source mentioning a Rake CRM upgrade example.
Exactly. That's a perfect private sector example where you'd weigh the cost of the new system against benefits like better efficiency or more sales.
And for choosing between projects.
Yes, resource allocation. If a company only has so much capital, they'll often use BCR or similar metrics to prioritize the projects expected to give the best financial or strategic bang for the buck.
Makes sense. Okay, one more area. Regulations and grants.
Crucial there, too. When governments propose new regulations, they often have to do a regulatory impact analysis, which heavily involves BCA.
Comparing societal benefits like safety to the costs businesses face.
Precisely. In the U.S., there's Executive Order 12866 that mandates this for major regulations. And for grants, say, you want FEMA money for flood protection or DOT funds for a local road.
You need to show it's a good investment.
Often, yes. You'll likely need to submit a BCR analysis to demonstrate the project is cost-effective and justifies using public grant funds.
Okay, it's clearly used everywhere. So let's talk about why. What are the big advantages of using the benefit-cost ratio?
Well, a major one is just its clarity. It boils down a potentially very complex analysis.
Lots of spreadsheets and forecasts.
Right, into a single number, a ratio. That makes it easier for, non-financial folks, policymakers, the public, to grasp the basic economic story. Is it likely to be worthwhile or not?
So, communication.
Big part of it. And as we've stressed, it forces you to account for the time value of money by using discounting. That's critical for comparing fairly over time.
And it compares efficiency well.
Yes, that's its core strength, really. It gives you that direct measure, benefit per dollar spent. Great for ranking different options or designs, especially if your budget is tight, which gives the most bang for the buck.
Useful for prioritizing.
Very. And finally, just the process of doing a BCA forces a certain discipline. You have to systematically identify, quantify, and value all the costs and benefits you anticipate.
Reduces gut feelings.
Hopefully, it pushes towards data-driven, more objective decisions. It can uncover hidden costs or benefits you might have missed and makes the whole process more transparent.
Those are some strong points. But like any tool, it must have downsides. What are the big limitations or criticisms of BCR?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not perfect. A huge one is its sensitivity to the underlying assumptions.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Essentially, yes.
All right.
The BCR is only as reliable as the forecast of future costs and benefits you feed into it. And forecasting the future, especially long-term, is inherently uncertain. Market changes, new technology, regulations.
And the discount rate choice we talked about.
Exactly. That alone can swing the results significantly. So forecast accuracy and the discount rate are major sensitivities.
What else?
The monetization problem we touched on earlier. Assigning credible dollar values to intangible things, environmental quality, public health improvements, cultural heritage, social equity, even just aesthetics.
How do you value a beautiful view?
Right. It's incredibly difficult. There are methods, as I said, but they often involve judgment calls and can be really contentious. That Delta report specifically mentioned not being able to quantify impacts on aesthetics or tribal cultural resources because there wasn't a good economic method.
So it struggles with the unpriceable stuff.
It does. And another key limitation is what we discussed with the large versus small project example. BCR ignores the absolute scale of the net benefit.
It just shows a ratio.
Right. So relying only on BCR could lead you to pick a small, highly efficient project over a larger one that actually creates much more total value, which NPV would capture.
Okay. What about fairness? Does BCR consider who wins and who loses?
Not typically, no. Standard BCR just adds up all the benefits and all the costs across society. It doesn't usually look at how those benefits and costs are distributed.
So a project could look good overall, but hurt a specific group.
Exactly. A project could have a great BCR, but maybe displace a low-income community or pollute a specific neighborhood. The overall number hides those distributional equity issues. Again, the Delta report noted some impacts might fall disproportionately on nearby communities.
That's a really important blind spot. Any other practical hurdles?
Yeah, a few others are worth mentioning. Just agreeing on the right discount rate, especially the social discount rate for public projects, is often tricky.
Right.
Defining the scope, what costs and benefits do you even include? Who counts? That involves judgment. Getting reliable data can be expensive and difficult.
And data might just not exist for some things.
Precisely. And let's be honest, there's potential for manipulation. If someone really wants a project approved, they might inflate the benefits or lowball the costs.
Or pick a discount rate that helps their case.
It happens. Also, focusing only on quantifiable stuff can mean important qualitative factors get ignored. And the single BCR number doesn't tell you when the benefits arrive. Maybe the payback period is very long.
Okay, lots to be cautious about. Seems like you need to use BCR as one tool among others. You mentioned NPV and IRR earlier. Can we quickly compare them?
Sure. So NPV, net present value, and IRR, internal rate of return, are the other main discounted cash flow methods.
Right.
NPV, like we said, is the present value of all the inflows minus the present value of all the outflows using your chosen discount rate. It gives you the total net value added in today's dollars. Rule is NPV greater than zero is good.
Okay, absolute value. And IRR?
IRR is the discount rate that makes the NPV exactly zero. Or you could say the rate where the BCR equals 1. It's the project effective percentage rate of return.
Right.
Rule is, except if IRR is higher than your required return or cost of capital.
So BCR is a ratio, NPV is dollars, IRR is a percentage.
You got it. They measure different things. For simple independent projects, they often point the same way. But when you have to choose between projects...
Mutually exclusive ones.
Yes. NPV is generally seen as superior then, because it directly reflects the scale of value creation. BCR, as we know, ignores scale.
And NPV has a more realistic assumption about reinvesting cash flows.
That's another technical point, yes. NPV assumes reinvestment at the discount rate. IRR assumes reinvestment at the IRR itself, which can sometimes be unrealistically high. Plus, IRR can sometimes give weird results with complex cash flows.
Okay, so NPV is often the theoretically preferred one, especially for choosing between options. But BCR is simpler to communicate.
That's a fair summary. They each have their strengths and weaknesses.
Could we maybe walk through a couple of quick examples to make BCR really concrete?
Sure. Let's imagine a business renovating an apartment building. They figure out the present value of all renovation costs is, say, $1 million.
Yeah.
And they estimate the present value of the increased rent they'll get over the years is $5.77 million.
Oh.
So the BCR is 5.77 million divided by 1 million, which is 5.77.
Highly profitable, clearly.
Very. Now, a public example, maybe improving a highway stretch. Let's say the PV of construction and maintenance is $80 million.
Big number.
And the PV of the benefits reduced travel time, fewer accidents, lower vehicle operating costs for everyone adds up to $120 million.
Okay.
So BCR is $120 million over $80 million. That's 1.5.
Still positive, justifies the public spending.
That's the argument, yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe building a new public park, PV of costs $80 million again.
And benefits.
Yeah.
Recreation, higher nearby property values.
Tourism, maybe some environmental improvements like stormwater management. Let's say those are valued at a PV of $150 million.
So BCR is 150 over 80, nearly 1.9.
About 1.88, yeah. Suggests it's a highly desirable project for society. One more quick one. A public health program like vaccinations. Maybe the PV cost is $5,000, but the PV of benefits, just the avoided future medical treatment costs, is $12,500.
BCR is 2.5. Very cost effective.
Exactly. Shows the value proposition clearly.
Those help illustrate the calculation. Now, we also saw mention of interactive cost-benefit analysis tools. What's the idea there?
Yeah, that's a really interesting development. Think of a web tool or software where you can actually play with the numbers.
Like a simulator.
Kind of. We saw an article about one for healthcare looking at using predictive algorithms. The goal was to let users plug in different assumptions.
Like how common a disease is, how accurate the prediction is, the cost of treatment.
Exactly. Population size, cost of the bad outcome, cost of the intervention, how well the intervention works. You put in your numbers.
And what does it show you?
It modeled different strategies like doing nothing, base case, treating everyone, or using the algorithm to test people and only treat those who test positive.
And did it find anything surprising?
Well, the example they used related to congestive heart failure readmissions showed that sometimes, even with a decent predictive test, just treating everyone could actually be cheaper overall than testing and then treating.
Really? Why?
It depends on the relative costs of the test, cost of the illness, cost of the treatment, how effective the treatment is. If the test isn't perfect, or treatment is cheap and effective, treat all might win out financially.
Huh. So the interactive part is key.
That's the real value. You can change any of those inputs. What if the readmission costs more? What if the treatment is less effective? What if the disease is rarer? And instantly see how it affects the cost effectiveness of each strategy.
So you can test how sensitive the result is to your assumptions.
Precisely. It gives decision makers a much better feel for the robustness of the findings and which factors are really driving the economics. It makes the analysis dynamic, not static.
That sounds incredibly useful, especially with all the uncertainties we discussed.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive on the benefit-cost ratio, what are the main things you hope people take away?
I think the main points are: recognize BCR as a useful, sometimes simple way to summarize the relative efficiency of a project. It accounts for the time value of money, which is good, but be really aware of its limitations. It's sensitive to assumptions, it struggles with intangibles, it ignores the absolute scale of benefits, and it usually doesn't address fairness or distribution.
So handle with care.
Exactly. Use it thoughtfully, understand the assumptions behind the number, and ideally use it alongside other information like NPV, qualitative assessments, and thinking about who is actually affected. It's a tool, not the whole answer.
That's a perfectly balanced summary. Thank you so much for breaking down the benefit-cost ratio for us today. Really insightful.
My pleasure. Glad to discuss it.
And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. But here's something for you to mull over. Think about decisions in your own field or even your personal life. Where do you weigh costs and benefits, even informally? Could applying some of the benefit-cost analysis thinking we discussed today, maybe even just systematically listing pros and cons or thinking about timing, lead you to different, perhaps better conclusions. Consider those trade-offs and the things that are hard to put a number on. Until next time, keep exploring.